it's that time. It's that time. It's that time. It's the time. I forgot to tell you again, I am my own musical inclined instrument. I do a little beatbox. I try to be a little Dougie Fresh. I'm saying I have my own sound effects. I have all that stuff. Like, I don't have to pay nobody for that. I can do that myself.
Well, free. Hey, like you are your own one-man band. I love it.
I am truly the one man band. It's been a success story so far for 45 years because my birthday was last Sunday.
Oh, happy belated.
No,
Yes.
I celebrate all month, so it's not belated. It's always on time.
Oh,
So thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching us today. We are super duper excited for you to always tune in to the Dumping Ground on Tuesday. Thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for following us. We want you to like, follow, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We out here trying to make an imprint across the world to show that these business owners are out here doing their thing. They may be a solopreneur now, but they're not going to be a solopreneur forever, right? So, again, thank you so much for always tuning in with us. As you guys know, today is live. You can always check us back out on the replay, but we also have a podcast. Right? Yes, we're trying to touch multiple people in multiple ways. So you can always check us out on all the podcast outlets, Spotify, all these good places where you find your amazing podcast. Follow us on our podcast channel so you don't miss anything because we got a lot to say, honey, a lot to say, okay? Also today, we always talk about that drip. Everybody want to monetize, put their logos on stuff. The Dumping Ground has drip too, so check us out. We have that good stuff too. Nice t-shirts, nice hoodies, masks. I've still been seeing people wearing their masks. That was pretty encouraging. That COVID is still out here and people are protecting themselves. So you need a mask. COVID is real, right? Yes. And so check us out and buy us some merch, all that good stuff. We're in the game. And if you don't have no merch for your business, shame on you. I'm sorry, Makisha. You said you wasn't going to say that. Okay, I'll take that back. Let me run that back. If you don't have merch, please, that is a way that you can monetize your podcast or your business. So check into the merch. It's okay. You can definitely put your logo and good quality and material. Okay. That was my serious person at that moment.
Serious. Get your merch for sure.
Get your merch on it. That's a way you can monetize and invest in your business and all that good stuff, right? All right, enough of the play, Makisha. Celebrate your wins. We are always celebrating our wins. So we're going to talk to our amazing guest about her wins in a moment. But I just want to introduce her because she is actually dominating two major areas that is mostly men dominated. Like number one, tech. Whoa, tech? That is a male dominant area, right? But we have amazing Ashley out here making her global footprint in the tech world and also in financial literacy. What? She teaching people how to put them coins aside so you can subside. So we're so excited to have Ashley Jones on the show. She has degrees, she has credentials. I could tell you, list goes on about the amazing. This part that's piped me up. She is a founder of a startup company. Like she helped the grind work. She helped them build the bricks, build it, mind, body, soul, spirit. That is just so empowering to me and so inspiring to me. Ashley Jones on the
show. Thank you. Yeah, you have to, from here on out, anywhere I go and I just need to introduce myself, I just need you in my back pocket.
Hey, listen, I'm here for it. Tell me where you need me to show up. I'm there for you. And you in these ATL streets be like, Makisha, pull up on me. I'll pull up on you, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But I am so excited to have you here today. It's been super amazing to be able to connect with you from Shelly's YouTube channel, Pie. Mrs. Pie. Mrs. Pie is in the chat. Hi, Mrs. Pie. Mwah! We love you. And it's been amazing. Like I was telling you in the green room, she is my mentor. She helps me. We help each other. Iron sharpens iron. We make each other better. And I'm just grateful to have someone like her in my life. I know I say this every episode. She probably gonna be like, enough is enough, Makisha, but I always want her to understand that I appreciate what she sows into my life. And I always want to give her flowers while she lives. So don't put nothing in the chat, Miss Shelly Jeffcoat. I know you're gonna tell me to. But thank you so much, Ashley, for coming on and talking about your amazing businesses, two main dominant industries that you are a powerhouse in. It's just like, jump in. Like, it's so amazing, girl. So amazing.
Yes. Well, first, Makisha, thank you so much for having me on. And yes, shout out to Shelly, because that is how we met. And we were introduced, and I wouldn't be here today on your podcast without her. So thank you so much. And I'm excited to really be here and talk about, first of all, tech is, like you said, is male dominated. It's anywhere you go out in Silicon Valley. And then we've got, of course, our huge hub here in Atlanta, and there's so much opportunity, but there is just not enough of us women. And then, of course, us women of color in tech. So, my journey really started off probably very non-traditional. Like, I don't code. I don't do any of the background or anything else like that. Right. So I started off as a CS rep at a tech company. And at that time, it was me, the CEO, and maybe about 3 or 4 other people. So I was very, very early on. We had no customer service department. I was the customer service department, and that was it. Like, I was taking calls on my phone, and on my personal phone. And so really being able to like build that up from the ground, from literally absolutely nothing to having call centers out in the Philippines and call center out in South America. It took a while to get there, but it was being able to kind of really take the knowledge that I used for among the years of being there and just really apply that throughout my entire time there. And that led me to teaching kids financial literacy. So I was working for an app that is all focused around kids using money and utilizing it in a smart way, that way later on in life they can make those smart money decisions. Mm-hmm. But I was like wondering, I'm like, well, how are they putting this information to use? And the people who need it the most, who really need to learn, are these kids who live in sometimes not the best neighborhoods, and people who look like me or people who look like you. And those are the kids, and those are the families who need that information. And so, yeah, I started teaching kids financial literacy. I did it through the pandemic, through COVID. And I was teaching kids up in Chicago, up in Inglewood, Chicago. And it was one of the most, I would say, gratifying, just fulfilling times of my life, just because I knew that is like where I was kind of walking in my purpose. And I know, Shelly, I know, really, she drove that into when we were talking the last time. It was just really walking in your purpose. And so, yeah. And then that's kind of what led me here today. So it's a little bit about me.
I think, listen, if we would have had someone, and I think I said this to in the comments when you were on Shelly's show, if we had someone in high school or middle school teaching us that you work hard in your 20s and 30s,
Right.
by the time you get to your 40s, your money gonna be working for you.
Mhm.
Like if we would have had that then, we would be so surpassed where we are at. Like you're literally planting seeds in their minds, so when they may even forget, right? But when they probably come up to a situation as they get in their 20s or 18 years old and they have to make a financial decision, those seeds that was planted and watered in their life over the years that you taught them is going to rise up, and they're going to be like, you know what, maybe I don't need to do, maybe I don't need to buy that right now, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I should put that in something so it can grow and make something else out of, you know what I'm saying, something better for futuristic. So I'm, because like for us, let's just tell us for us, I was telling you I came from a single parent home, and my
Mm.
mom had to work multiple jobs to make sure that her 7 kids was provided for, right? She didn't my mom had didn't have a high school education. You know,
Right.
she had to drop out when she was younger to help her mom raise her mom and different things like that. So but to her knowledge that she knew, she raised her kids, right? And we are able to see the fruit from the hard work, right? Of even when she only had a few dollars, right? How she even saved that to make, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, Mama, how you made this happen? You know what
And it's I love that because it's like we don't see it when we're young,
I'm
right?
saying? Yes.
In when but it's only until we either have children of our own or we're in those kind of similar situations where we're like we reflect back on what our parents did and how they were able to sacrifice. And you know, talking about like, you know, hitting on what you were talking about earlier, is just that we 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 don't see it, we're because we're in it and we're younger and we can't appreciate it, but it's those small little sacrifices that make up to, you know, that really kind of build us in our character. And yeah, it's just like if you the with the teaching of the financial literacy to the teens now and to the kids and putting it into their brains early, it really allows them to be able to figure out like, okay, is this a want or this is a need, right? And if we kind of be able to separate those and look at it and say like, like you said, do I really need this or do I just really want it?
Mhm.
And it's hard because when you have those impulses, right? And you're like, oh yeah, like no, I'm pretty sure I need these new pair of shoes, but I'm dead serious. But it's like when you look back at it, you're like, no, I could have probably skipped on those and
Yeah.
being able to save that money. And that's really about like what I was teaching during that time, is just saying like, hey, these are the things that you really need, the necessities, and you know, putting out a list of like, hey, these are your utilities and this is how much your rent or mortgage would cost. And you know, you want to get around town, right? So you need a car, and but you also got to put gas, and well, you know, there's wear and tear on your car, there's repairs, and being able to save for a rainy day. And those are the kind of things that in those neighborhoods, they don't have the luxury of being able to think about having to save. They're
Mhm.
just having to go from one day to the next. And
Dang.
that's it.
Yeah.
So,
So to me, to me, that is truly have to be a passion for someone to do, because you see the, like for instance, you were saying they have to go to day to day. So seeing the hurt and the need of them, you know, you're trying to give them this information, but knowing that you don't know if they ate breakfast that morning, or
mm,
you don't know if they're gonna have dinner at that night. That takes a special type of person to do that. Everybody can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think I was called for that one, Ashley. That takes a special person to be able to, you know, think about it. A
mhm.
kid could be hungry and they're in your teaching and they're trying to learn. We're talking about saving, and they're like, man, I have to save my food for my sister or my brother. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's amazing that it's twofold, because even in their circumstance and in their moment, those seeds are still being sown. So
Mhm.
that's the cool part. Even in your circumstance at that moment, your knowledge is still being implanted in them at a vulnerable state of their life that they'll never forget. They will
Yeah.
never forget. You know,
Yeah.
that's truly empower.
And I felt like the biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway from myself when I was teaching them was not, and I know it sounds crazy, but it's not just teaching the kids, it's actually teaching the parents too.
Mhm.
Because once my lessons are done and I'm going on to the next cohort, that's it, right? But if I'm teaching and I'm instilling those principles and that knowledge into the parent, into the caregiver of that family, of that household, in their day to day, that's where they can implement it. And so when after the course is done and it's over with, it's where how can they implement those teachings in their everyday life, and it can only be done with the parent by their side, and also implementing or having the same practices too, because you know the kids are going to watch exactly what the parents do. And if the parents are not doing it, then the kids are going to be like, well, I'm not going to do it. So it goes really hand in hand. And it also just makes it a little bit more fun when both parent and child are having an active interest in the family financials. So
I think that's I think that's pretty unique too, because again, their parents probably wasn't taught either, right? So
mhm.
that's pretty unique that you're able to share with them, like, man, I could do this, I could do that, and then the kids see the fruit of it as it blossom in their parents, like, oh, it does work, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty dope. Again, that's another twofold blessing in that process. That's pretty amazing, man. I like that. That's pretty funny. So tell me this. What would you tell, like, for today? I have a couple of friends, their kids about to start college in probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks in August.
Hmm.
And college kids. And we know with the nice back in the day, the credit card people was on site
Yep.
trying to tell you all you got to do is sign your name, put your social. We're going to give you a t-shirt, all interest free for a year. And then you're going to have a 29.9 APR, and you oblivious. You're just like, yo, I'm going to have me a credit card. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to have to be calling my mom every 2 weeks time I put, I need money or I need this, because I'm going to have a credit card on site, right?
Mhm.
What would you tell those young, impressionable freshmen that's entering into the college world who probably don't know much about credit, don't probably know a little bit about saving? What is impressionable would you say to them, Ashley?
Well, one, I would say don't be afraid of credit, right?
Mhm.
Um, Credit is supposed to help you. So I think we have this mentality of that, oh, well, it's scary, don't use it, and it can be dangerous. And that all of that is true, right? If you don't use it properly and if you abuse it, it can be scary and dangerous and it won't benefit you. But if you use it in a smart way that's saying, okay, I know that this is my limit, right? I'm only going to put on here maybe using it for just gas. Um, Use it in a way that, like, okay, if I use this, let me go ahead and immediately pay it off. That's the smart, and just making sure you're not overspending. Don't spend more than what you have. So use it and think about it as a debit card. If it's going to come out automatically, do you have the money in there to pay for this? And if not, then maybe we should put it away. And that
Mhm.
means, like, yeah, we want to go out for drinks, and we're going to go out to the local bar, or we're going to do this, or I'm going to go and eat with my friends. Look for different ways and be able to, like, save that money and have dinner at home. right? Or maybe like do board game at home at the dorm, or at your friend's house, rather than going out and spending that money. So just the most important thing is making sure you're not spending more than what you are able to pay. And as long as you are not doing that, credit should be something that should be embraced in a healthy way, and not be this scary kind of mountain that we're always afraid to kind of like approach. It should be something that we should take into consideration, of that, like, hey, yeah, this is something that's going to help me later on in my future. But if I don't take care of it now, it'll come back and haunt me. So that's
you should be telling some adults that, like, I know we ain't talking about the kids, the young adults who's entering into the stage of college, because that happened to me. When I graduated from high school, my mom had a special credit card. I'm not going to put you on the blast, credit card person, because I don't want to get you no credit because you was wrong, right? You was wrong. And I was wrong, but you was wrong too. So got out of high school, everything, right? I go to the mailbox and it's there. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got a credit card, right? But one thing my mom taught me was, like, she did to the best of her knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. She was just like, don't destroy your credit, right? She didn't understand it either. She just knew either you mess it up or you have bad credit, right? But I just was like, I don't have the money, so I'm not going to spend. But when you want to see some shoes and stuff like that,
yeah.
I didn't have the discipline. I didn't understand, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have the discipline to
say no. To say no. Yeah.
So that credit card people was wrong. Hashtag you were wrong. I'm just going to tell you, because that's how you get a lot of people. And then you talk about where you could get cash back. Every year you get a check. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah. No, the credit card companies are not out here to help you. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that we have to, like, keep in mind. They're not your friend. Mm-hmm. They are out here to make money. They want you to spend. That is their thing. That is their business model. The more you spend, the more money they make. Yes. And so we have to, like, keeping that in mind, that, they're not out here saying, like, hey, we want to help you build good credit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're going to help you find a way to be able to spend the money that you have or that you do not have.
Right. And then my mom was like, I don't know how they sent you that card. I don't know why they sent me the card, because she had the same card. So they knew. So how they scammed. They knew that I was about to graduate, and she was good managing hers. You know what I'm saying? They was like, ooh, let me get her a child. Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of system they use, where they know automatically that the child is now off to college, and I'm like, y'all have way too much data on people, for sure.
I know. They're out here using whatever searches but I just thought that was so funny. And then once my mom found out about it, she was like, no, you're gonna cut that card up. We're not about to get that. I just remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, like, we're not about to go down this route, right? I told you to keep up with your credit and make sure your credit is good. So that was just funny to me. But that is cool. That is one thing that we have to, again, explain to our kids. Like you said, we were taught that, oh, don't use your credit. Cash is king. Cash is king. Cash is king, right? But now people don't care about you guys. I remember back in the day, you can go to a dealership and be like, I got $5,000 cash. And they'd be like, okay. Yeah. What you want me to do about it?
Well, I mean, it's the same thing about when you're going to go and buy a house, right?
Yes.
If you got all this cash and it's sitting in a safe, it's underneath your mattress, it's collecting dust in a couple of shoe boxes, that's great. The fact that you have been able to save money, that is a really strong, healthy habit. But it does justice sitting at home, right? The bank, they want to see that you've been able to save this money. And your closet ain't holding any statements. It is not making statements. Okay. Let's say that. Okay. So when you go into, you're not going to ask your closet to be like, hey, can you print me off a statement, a balance of showing that, like, hey, I got all this money here that I've been saving it for X amount of years.
Absolutely.
And the mortgage company is going to be like, well, we need some proof to show you have been able to, you've got this money here and that you've been able to save and you're doing X, Y, Z with it. And it's the same thing about, when they want to look at your, financials. So don't do yourself, an injustice by keeping it at home. Yeah. And plus your money at home is not FDIC insured. Put that in the bank. Okay. Put it in the bank.
Absolutely. I know that's funny how you say put in the bank, because a lot of people are like, I don't trust the bank. They're making money off me. Honey, your job's making money off you. I'm just saying. They just give you a little they give you have a service agreement with them, but they have a whole life policy on you. Yes. They making money off you, kid. So
we have to get this idea that like banks are not to be trusted. I would do your research just like you do with research and anything else. Before you open a bank account, figure out, like, is this a bank that I like, right? Absolutely. Do they offer the things that I need and that for me are tailored to my needs and wants as this adult living in this world? And if not, then, go on to the next bank. There's plenty of banks out there, Absolutely. And we need to be looking at Black-owned banks, real Black-owned banks.
Girl, you speaking that, girl.
Banks, and make sure that, hey, like, we can put our money there, going back into the community. But there's just, yes, your closet underneath the mattress in a safe, it's not doing it's doing
no vision. So listen, so tell me this. Tech. You said when you started off in tech, it was just so. Is this something that you enjoy now? Is there something like I can't live without it now? Or is this just something like, what, I could do it or not do it? Is this just a passion that you have, built up over the years since you started with the startup?
Yeah, I loved working for a startup company. It is, one, it will work you into the ground. Okay. There's always something to do. Like the next day, things could be going great. The next day is, it's on its back and you're trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces. But I think that's like the exciting part about it. And there's just so many new things happening in tech all the time. And so I love it. Like for Atlanta, like I'm super blessed that I live in a city that, is embracing tech. I think our mayor does a really, really great job of being able to embrace the tech culture. I know he is a big tech person as well. So that's super helpful. I love being able to, see the things that are on the new horizon that are coming through and being able to just kind of read up on what other people are doing. But yeah, like I love it. I think I can always going to see myself in tech at some point in my life. But there's also other things that I really have found that I like doing too. And that's kind of like what you're doing, Makisha, is this podcast. So yeah,
we're going to talk about your podcast, but let me ask you this question. What do you think about, so, AI is the gloom and doom, right? Everybody like, oh my God, AI is going to take my job. AI is going to take over the world and rule the world. It's like, oh my God. I feel like AI sounds like social media when it first started out. Oh my God, social media is going to kill us. They're watching us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anything that's new and that you have not done any research over, and you watch Hollywood, and Hollywood has put the fear of you because of our robots and all these movies and stuff. Robots taking over. You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel about AI? I know AI has really been on the launch lately. I use AI. I just got introduced to it like maybe a month ago, and I was just like, where have you been all my life? You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about AI?
I love it. I love it. And at first, going back to what you were saying is, like people are scared of it. But I think people are always scared of change, right? Things that are unknown and that confuses them, and they think that it's gonna take their job. I think like AI makes things easier, right? It's not going to take everyone's job. Like that's just not going to happen. But I do think that there's ways that things that we've been doing that we found that like, hey, AI makes it a lot easier for us to do this. And let's go ahead and just transform this into this digital transformation and make it a lot easier. And it's less manpower, right? It's not taking it away from the people. It's just making our lives a little bit easier. And just, I think learning how to embrace it and not be so scared of it is like the best thing, because in all honesty, like using AI to build your resume or to help you with your website, where like we don't want to put all those man hours into doing these things that take up the time, where we could be putting our hours into other things that are going to generate income, right? And so if we can find, and that's the same way businesses look at it, is how can we streamline this process, make it easier? We're not having to put in so many man hours or manpower into this process, where it could be, streamlined. It could be easier for all of our, the entire company as a whole. So I think we just have to be more accepting of it, and know that like, hey, it's here to help, and and at the end of the day, it's not going anywhere either. So we got to embrace it.
It's accelerating so fast. Yeah. And we were talking about transitioning, and we were talking about that in the green room. It's so amazing how that buzzword just came back alive again for us. And I know you were talking about some transitioning things that's going on in your new endeavors and stuff, and how we were saying either you transition by choice or by force.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, and that's okay, to really examine some things and really tighten up things. And that's okay too. That's not a failure. That's a lesson that's going to help transition you back into that next level that you need to be. So you want to kind of talk about your little You want to talk about your transition. I'm sorry. Sometimes words just come out of my mouth.
No, it's totally fine.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. You're transitioning into some things, and we were talking about as a solopreneur, you always have to have that flexibility to know that you may have to do that. So I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've learned this throughout this year, and we were talking about it in the green room, earlier, is that this year has been a wild ride. It's been humbling, to say the least. It has taught me so many things along the way, and that change is inevitable. Change is always going to come. And whether you want to transition or not, when it's time to, you're either going to be forced to, or you're going to read this, the writings on the wall, and you can do it before you're kind of forced to do it. But yeah, I mean, with One Cart, we've kind of had this idea of like what we thought we wanted it to be like, and we were like very set on it. And I remember somebody telling us this a while back, that when you're so married to an idea, that's when you need to stop, because you have to know that things are going to change. And you can't be 100% married to something, because at the end of the day, you may think that it's going to work, and you may have to go and actually take the puzzle pieces back and redo it completely. And I think that's kind of where we're at right now. One Cart it's a platform that allows shoppers to shop from multiple websites all at one time. And so we started off with an extension. And let's say if you want to go onto Home Depot and you want to buy a lawnmower, I always give a lawnmower, I have no idea why. And you want to go on to Target, and you want to do your Target shopping, and then you want to go onto Amazon. It allows you to be able to pull those items, put it all into one cart, and check out at one time. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of different layers that come into play with that. And that we've kind of had to look at. We're like, okay, not only do we have to kind of make sure that on the back end, this is very secure and very, very tight. There's just so many other things that, right, as an entrepreneur, that we had to realize. We were like, okay, yeah, we didn't think about that. And how is this going to play into basically our business model. And so it's a transition. It's a learning phase. And that's what I look at it as, where I'm constantly learning. What I thought I knew, I don't. And now I know. So now I got to figure out, like, okay, how do I move forward in the space that I'm in now, and making sure that the dream is not dead. It's just making sure that, like, how can I make this dream a little bit bigger, a little bit more vibrant, and go forward with it. So, and
that is a lesson that we all have to learn. And especially, like I was telling you, how my podcast started off as a Dear John. Like, I thought I just wanted to be out here just helping the world. I thought I was able to touch people, but I realized people got some real problems. Like, you know, I got problems too, but honey, people need some, they need to be laying on some people's couches like 3 times a week. You know, like 3 days out of a week. Like, they need to go to work, go to somebody's couch. They need to go back to work, go to somebody's couch. Like, they really got some stuff that they never really dealt with. So I wasn't equipped to deal with that. I was like, oh, wait. I think I done bit off more than I could chew, right? So I had to pivot. So there's nothing wrong with pivoting, but your vision is still the same, right? But you just have to go back to the drawing board to make sure, like you said, hey, I have to make sure this data is straight tight, because I don't want no infiltrations. I want to make sure that we're secure. We have all the right tools, everything that we need. So once we launch, we're in the game, right? We're able to launch our app, do what we got to do, and sit back and celebrate our wins, right? So I think that is so commendable for you to just to share that, because some people won't share that, and people need to hear that, because that is a testimony to, they may be in that same space where you're at and don't have no one to turn to, and thinking that maybe I should stop. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I shouldn't keep doing this. Maybe this is not the vision. Maybe I misheard. Maybe I misread, or maybe I missed this and that. You know what I'm saying? So you sharing that testimony and your success, knowing, hey, it's okay. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to be able to look at it and say, like, okay, like, I don't know everything. And this is, you know, no entrepreneur out there is going to be like, yep, I've got the business plan and this is going to work. If that was the case, we'd all be successful, right? Yeah. Everybody, we wouldn't need to know anything. Everybody would be successful. Everybody's business would be booming and everything else like that. But as an entrepreneur, there are going to be things that you're like, okay, I didn't think I'd be having to start from the drawing board again. And it's totally okay. It's fine. But if you move in the idea that, oh, well, I misread this, or I thought this, maybe it's not for me, you're only doing a disservice for yourself, right? You've got to be able to know that, like, hey, along this entrepreneurial journey that you're on, there are going to be areas of where there's going to be some concern. You're going to go back, you're going to look at it and say, okay, how do we regroup? Let's go back. Let's put the pieces, back on the puzzle, and, find a new way, because, we don't know everything. We just don't. And, there's always a learning moment in everything that we do.
So we're going to talk about celebrate your win. I've been holding this one for like, expose.
Please, okay, here.
Please hold podcast. Please hold podcast.
I would definitely say this is one of the biggest wins that I have, myself and my sister Tiffany. We're both hosts on this podcast. We started, her and myself were huge customer service I would say maybe we're just huge customer service nerds. I don't know. But we love everything customer service. I mean, from the time that we go out somewhere, we the experience of the customer, of going, walking up to a whatever, if it's a restaurant or if it's a store, a hotel, everything. I'm calling on the phone, whatever it is, the customer journey and the experience, we're all here for it. So my win right now is that we just had our episode 3, which is out now and it's on all platforms and it's on YouTube, of our Please Hold podcast, which is just 2 sisters tackling the underappreciated world of customer service and just talking about like, hey, let me get Silver Black, because that was our first episode, right? And you do CS, and why do people look down on people who work in customer service? And so we're just kind of, talking about things that, are kind of a little bit of a hot topic, but putting a little spin, making it fun, relatable, because I know for myself, every day I go to the grocery store, every time I go get gas somewhere, it doesn't matter. I go to a restaurant, wherever it is, I come into contact with people who are working in the customer service industry, hospitality, a waitress, a waiter, wherever it is. So yeah, it's just something that we don't see that anybody's talking about it right now. So we were like, we need to give a voice to it. So we're super excited.
I'm excited for you, Ashley. This is super exciting. I'm going to definitely follow you guys because I want to go see the first episode, because I am a customer service guru as well. It's for me, when I go to an experience, my sisters, them, like, I'd be like, let me see call your manager over, right? And I want the manager to know, if I go to the restaurant or whatever, that you did an outstanding service, right? And because the manager always probably just get complaints. When do they ever get, oh my God, my waitress did an amazing job, or this cashier did an amazing job? You always want to, appreciate customer service, man. Like, we all started in customer service. Let's just keep it a buck, right?
Okay. I mean, that's where I got my tech background was from customer service.
Right.
I mean,
so you want a great experience, right? And so that's just, so I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to follow you guys in your journey on your podcast, man. I wish you nothing but success. And I'm so grateful that you came today on the Dumping Ground. Bless us today with all of your endeavors. You out here doing your thing, putting your foot down on the ground. You understand what I'm saying? In this tech world, in this financial literacy world, keep building our kids, keep pouring into these adults, keep just being your awesome self, man. I can't wait to see you in 9 months, because you're coming back, right?
Yes. I know how to find you, Makisha.
We caught that we're in there now. You can't go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I follow you on the socials, so I know where you're at, right? Unless you start switching up, because you didn't got in your tech world, you didn't got high class. No, I'm joking.
I'm not leaving without you.
Please don't carry me along beside you. But I'm so excited to have you on the show today. This has been so fun. Thanks so much again for just sharing your experience with us and giving us your endeavors and allowing us to go on this journey with you. I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you for having me on here. Like, I love, this is so new to me of doing the whole podcast world and being able to do like live. So I'm super excited, and just it's sometimes I'm like, oh man, I'm like, can't say that, like, oh, you shouldn't say that actually. But I'm like, you just allow yourself to kind of be your natural self, and I love it. So thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm crazy and I'm dramatic and I got the sound effects and all that. So this is who you get. This is who I am, unfortunately. And Shelly said you're family now, so you in the game. So you're family. Family. So we're just happy again. Thank you so much. It's been truly an honor. And I wish you nothing but amazing success in all of your endeavors. Can I talk? And I look forward to seeing you in 9 months when you come back with our panel and just share some amazing your 9-month story of success, and we can celebrate you some more. Ashley Jones.
Yes.
Until next time, you have an amazing Tuesday. And we're out. Have a good one, Ashley.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.